What's up? Welcome back. We got another episode of GamerVice, ladies and gentlemen. You are here with Hank and Kevin. Kevin, say hi to the people.
Hi to the people. It has been a while, I understand, but we had a lot of personal things going on, but we're here now, making another video for you guys, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we might have missed a week, but that's okay. No one's keeping tabs on us, are you? I don't know. You guys tell me, man. Don't forget to hit up that comment section, like the video, share the video, dislike the video. I don't know. Let us know if you got some criticism, man. We need to see these numbers go up, man. We got to keep this thing going, all right? But we do it for the fun of it anyways. Doesn't matter. We'll be here. You guys just show up when you're ready. Lots happening in the gaming world, as always. But when I say it's like there's a lot of things happening, I don't feel like there's any big news that is shattering across the whole gaming world right now. It's a lot of little things to talk about here and there, but that's why we're here, baby, right? GamerVice, giving you all the vice you need. We're just going to talk about a few topics here. Nothing in specific, but we're going to start with Enshrouded. Those of you who are not familiar, Enshrouded is a survival, survival game? Is that also base building? And
Exactly. Survival, base building, action, RPG.
Action RPG. Is it MMO? No, it's not, because it's actually really, it doesn't have to be. It could be single player, but you can go on a server. So Enshrouded is a little, intriguing because it was kind of flying under the radar. It's also early access survival game, right? So just like Power World, but Power World was a big hit. Enshrouded came a week after it, kind of flew under the radar because so many people then just jumped onto Power World. Two completely different games as far as theme goes and how they're played. It's just survival and base building that they have in common, nothing else. But Enshrouded, for us, I think got off to a rocky start because we were kind of excited to try it out. We let it come out. We saw what reviews were saying. And we were looking for, a co-op experience game. Enshrouded seems to come out the gate, and they sold a lot of multiplayer as far as promoting the game. But the truth was the multiplayer was not fully complete to the extent a real co-op, group of people would probably want to enjoy the game. And I say that because the map, or the server, how you know it, has a main storyline that follows it. But if 3 players are in the storyline, anybody can advance the story if they're playing if somebody's not there. It's like the story or the campaign is tied to the server and the map, not the player. So that's a big hurdle that, I think needs to get fixed, and maybe will get fixed. So the reason we're talking Enshrouded is because they dropped the roadmap. They have big news coming, and this roadmap talks about a few things here. We'll hit on it as me and Kevin take a look at it here. But see, so one thing I know is like bases, sharing and visiting other bases, I guess, is something they're going to work towards because it was something they might have been missing at first. And then it says create and share gameplay experiences. So now maybe that hopefully means, they'll do something where progress is tied to your character and not necessarily the server. And it looks like a lot of other quality of life things in there. Is there anything that stands out to you specifically, Kevin, that might, start to get us interested when this game finally maybe hits a 1.0 release in the future?
Yeah, well, most of this stuff, I think they're aiming to be completed by next year. So this is going to be this is basically a whole year's worth of roadmap. First of all. Second of all, before we even get into the points that they put out, this is another company. I don't know if this is like a trend that these companies that are doing early access games are going to do now, but another company puts out a quote-unquote roadmap. There's no road. It doesn't show you what they're trying to do first or like what's more important or less important. It's just bullet points of stuff that they want to get out. So with that being said, I think right now they really got to focus on quality of life stuff. On this huge list of stuff is smoother high FPS gameplay, performance improvements, and they have server gameplay settings. They have nameable map locations, multiplayer pings, things like that. That's really going to help this game be able to sustain itself while they do all the other stuff. Because if people are having a better time playing multiplayer together, then I think it's okay for them to wait for the extra added content. Because I think survival games in general, survival multiplayer games, they're kind of a grind by nature. Like if you think about Power World or even OG stuff like Minecraft, it's grind. Like it's not necessarily linear like that. You kind of open world and you gotta do whatever you want, but at the same time, you gotta collect resources, you gotta grind for items, forge stuff. I think in this game, you forge things, weapons and items of that nature. But I think the most important things here are anything multiplayer specific first, and then probably you get into I know there's one that says new enemies and bosses. That's probably a good idea too. But yeah, those are things that stick out to me. Quality life stuff.
So that's probably where we're gonna, end it there. But you did bring up a good point, which I like. And again, it's just weird with games, right? So before, like the naming things, it started with demos, and now it seems to be like people just call it beta. And beta is like, is it a demo or is it a beta? Because there's a huge difference. Demo means you're giving me a piece of the game. Beta, you're telling me it's not complete, but now you're giving betas at demo release timing, where it's like, oh, the game's coming out in a month, here's the beta. It's like, is it? I hope that's not that beta build, because it's not the complete product. And now it's happening with the wording of roadmap, right? Like you said, the roadmap, I feel like the biggest it can be split up into is the 4 seasons. And then if not, you break it down into like the months and say, hey, this is what we're actually trying to release.
Right.
And this is like a nitpicking thing. That's cute and all that they said, and they kind of mentioned like, oh, for 2024, but like, then just change the name. Just say, this is what we look to accomplish within the next year. There's a lot of things here. Obviously, there's no specific order that we're doing these in, or tell us the priority of those things, because you really dropped a whole bunch of things into one big category and then a few into its own little other category. And it's just like, thanks for communicating, but you're not really communicating. You know what I mean? It almost makes me ask more questions, because now you're like, that's almost like a tease for people, especially as gamers who are impatient, right? Like, oh my God, look at all this is coming. But realistically, I might wait a whole year for them to just add all of that in one update. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, and it might take a whole year.
Yeah.
So, and is it like, how are you rolling it out? Like, don't say, and my point is just don't say roadmap.
Right. And there's over 40 things on this list. So it's not even like you can kind of get a feel of when they'll put stuff out. They could literally put all the quote unquote, I'll call it bullshit stuff, but like the stuff like potted plants is on this list. Setting on furniture, settings on like those type of things. I can, if those are you put in a priority to be put out first, then I can wait. Yeah. I'll, you know what I mean? But if you were going to tell me, oh, we're really going to work on performance improvement and server gameplay settings, then when I see that drop first, I'll be like, oh, maybe now I'll give it a shot. But because I don't know when you're dropping it, I'll just wait. Kind of to your point, like, it's so cool, but I'll just wait. I know that I can just wait now.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on. Another game that kind of came out a month ago or so. Now it's probably on that, 4 or 5 week mark. Helldivers 2. Okay. Now this one's an interesting one. It seems to be getting a lot of praise. It seems to be like getting the title of, this is how you do a live service game. Kind of like when, Baldur's Gate 3 came out. It was like, this is how you do an RPG. Like, and now we got Helldivers here. And it seems to, it's actually a funny game, because it's like, it has lore, but it's not a lives as a service game that has a campaign mode to it before you then start just playing like end game. Like, that's what makes this one interesting. And that's what I do think gives it its positive. It's almost still like a drop in play. Feel like I'm not missing out, maybe you obviously can't be a gazillion levels apart, but you could be 10, 15 levels apart, or you could also then be done playing and helping out other people and not really overpowered when it comes to your weapons. Maybe as far as stratagems and calling things in, you'll have, better equipment, but it's doing its lore through the community, which is, I think, what is keeping people going. the fact that it feels like you are writing the story for them, and then people on Twitter, Reddit, whatever it may be, like going and getting behind it and starting threads like, oh, we must fight for democracy. You know what I mean? It's literally getting people behind it. And then they actually did something fun, which made the game engaging, where, again, they're honestly not evil with the microtransactions by any means. You literally can earn that currency, the premium currency, in-game pretty frequently. And you can even find ways, hopefully they don't, like, to just farm it if you want, kind of, for those crazy people out there. But you could literally play naturally, enjoy it, and gain the currency. That's what I like about it. But they dropped the mech suits in the game, but they locked the mech suits behind a major order, which is, you know, a community event that you have a week to get done. And it's funny, the minute they said the mech was locked behind it, it was done in like a day or 2 days, I think. Mind you, the previous major order, the first one, when they were still trying to figure things out, was 2 weeks long. And there was no, you know, other than like 12,000 requisition slips behind it, which is like the in-game currency that you need to unlock things. But really, it wasn't that much for the 2-week period waiting to do it. And we failed democracy as a community. We failed. We actually did not complete the thing. And it's funny that the next week they get 1 week for major order, and they tell you they're dropping a mech suit. Everyone got on the game, focused on just the major order, and took out those automatons. And then, boom, next day within the hour, whatever it happened, they dropped the patch that allowed the mech suit to be unlocked, which is pretty awesome. And then, not for nothing, I guess yesterday, they dropped a new major order, but they just dropped a new type of enemy in the game. Like, just boom, on the fly. Like, obviously, they have this stuff ready, but they're not telling, but it just makes it fun when it's like this. It takes that anticipation. Oh, in 2 weeks, we're dropping this new enemy. No, just drop that like that, man. Don't tell us, like, you know it's in 2 weeks, but it's glad that the community didn't know, because it literally brings more excitement. You know what I mean? It's honestly pretty fun. So I just got to get Kevin here to play it. Kevin, any thoughts on Helldivers? I got to get him back in. I got to get him into it.
So I will say this, because you mentioned being able to play with players who are all different types of levels, and that's true to an extent. I think that there is a minimum threshold, though. What I mean by that is, yes, for the most part, you can have a huge range of levels in your squad and go out and do pretty difficult missions, like medium or harder difficulty missions. But if I'm like, especially level 5 or less, it's extremely difficult because that person hasn't unlocked enough stratagems. Yeah. So there is a minimum.
Yeah, when you get to that point of like at least having 4 stratagems so you can consistently call stuff in. But yeah, you're right. It's between 5 and 10 somewhere. But I mean, which is fine, because I feel like, you know, that if you really play it, you know, it probably takes 2 to 3 hours to get into that range. Yeah, but, so definitely fun. Or you could just have the person play down with you too and help you get through it a little faster through those levels.
That's true.
But exactly.
But as far as like the live service stuff goes, it actually reminds me of Warframe, except I know I've brought up Warframe to you multiple times.
No, I'm saying like you're right. I don't know. I'm ready to hear you.
So in Warframe, they do community events as well, where if you don't, like for instance, they have relay nodes, relay places, and basically the relays are where you can meet up. It's like a hub where you can meet up with other people, like people from all on the server, and like trade with them, and there's other stuff that you can do at the relay. There are events where you have to save the relays, and if you don't save them, they get destroyed, and then they get destroyed for like the entire season. So where there's normally like, I think there's normally like 4 or 5 relays, you can have 3 destroyed and only have 2 relays open for the entirety of the whole season or 2 seasons or however it works. And there's different kinds of community like that. The thing is, like I said, you can get destroyed. Let's say there's 5. I don't remember anymore because it's been a while since I played Warframe. Let's say there's 5 relays. If 3 get destroyed, there's 2 left. It doesn't change anything though. That's part of the problem. Like with that game, it doesn't really make too much of a difference if the community does anything or not.
As long as you got one of those, like
as long as you got one, it's basically the same thing as having 5.
Yeah.
So in that sense, Helldivers does it a lot better because it actually makes a difference so far, whether you do things. So I like that. And then on top of that, kind of to your point, these developers are doing a really good job of just like communicating and having fun with the community as far as like telling people, telling them what's going to go on or like hinting at what's going to happen next. They're doing a really good job with that. So I give them a lot of credit because one of the things that probably, it's just like anything else. I mean, it's just like a YouTube channel. When people comment, if we comment back, it makes them feel like what they said was like worth something and makes them want to come back. But again, that's part of the reason why we do it and have the conversation. So they're doing it on a huge scale. It makes people want to engage more. So kudos to them for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely very interesting, man. They do a good job. So keep it up. Just, clean up the optimization a little bit. But, give you a couple more weeks on that. I don't want no more crashes. That we got to fix that.
Still crashing
that? No, it didn't for me. But again, I still have like certain things enabled and disabled and having to run it a very specific way and have my CPU running. So make sure you get that fixed, Helldivers. But moving on, TopSpin 2K25. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know what I'm referring to that TopSpin on a tennis ball and a tennis sim game. Now, crazy thing with this one is like, big fan of Mario Tennis here, okay? I still to this day miss the old school Mario Tennis RPG, man. That was like legit. I wish they brought that RPG, create your tennis player element to the last Mario Tennis game that came out a few years ago on the Switch. Great actual game though, and great like to play with the different Mario characters and stuff like that. But it just would have been awesome to have your own created tennis player. So, but now that's obviously not sim, that's arcadey. We got tennis, man. And 2K is over here trying to bring the tennis sim alive. My thing with this one is like, who's actually and when I say this, and it's not even me, like just gamers, like how many people have even played in the past when they were a thing? Like, I'm curious because that happens to be a discussion with NCAA. Like, I'm going to go off here now. NCAA football and Madden, right? We lost NCAA. No, because what I'm going to say is that we lost NCAA, and that already felt, right, like it had this huge committed group of people that really wanted to play it. But we lost it, obviously, because of the image likeness and stuff like that. Like, yeah, like you couldn't do it. I understand why it stopped. It wasn't even because... But then it was also coming out that it was like they made NCAA and they kept making it because, there was that group of people that like it. But at the end of the day, what's funny is like Madden oversold NCAA when they were both coming out. And even though NCAA was the better football game, Madden was outselling NCAA like tenfold, like by like a lot. Because at the end of the day, there is, no matter what, more NFL fans than there is NCAA fans. So my thing is, when it comes to the tennis in general, like obviously it's an international sport. I'm not trying to say like rip it, but at least when it comes to a video game aspect, something that was never so popular. Like if I don't even see TopSpin selling as much as NCAA and they try to project it, I mean, what made them want to actually get the licensing for this and put the money into it? Like that's what I'm curious. Like, what are the projections on it? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like to your point, the last game was in 2000. It's TopSpin 4 from 2011, and like if people were really looking for a tennis game, like what was stopping anybody from making another tennis game if it was really like something that people wanted? That's what I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and this is pro, so it was already like you could have done it. It wasn't like it was college and something with trying to make the players or the universities and steal like the likeness. Like, if you wanted to do it, you could have done it. With that being said, this comes out April 26th. They finally released it. They announced the release date. But what is cool, because it is 2K, but also hurts it, Because microtransaction city, though, this could be a really fun now because of the multiplayer landscape of games. Because maybe you're not gonna want to play, like back in 2011, multiplayer wasn't like super big, right? But you play a game and you maybe do RPG in the career mode. But now it could be, you do make my career. You're gonna be able to create your own tennis player. They have 24 actual pros in the game, I think, that they were able to sign to deals. But now you get to create a tennis player, and now you just think about the competition and competitiveness if people actually buy the game. But, like, I don't know. It could be a thing. Like, I'm very curious. It's obviously, like, put it this way, because, again, like, I like Mario Tennis and arcade. Like, this is I don't play tennis, and because I'm a gamer, I like this is something I would like to try. Am I gonna pay the full price for this thing? No way, Jose. I'm gonna have to get this on a sale, somehow test it to make it see if it's worthwhile. But it's definitely something I would like to try and play because I'm very curious how cool or good the gameplay could be. Because again, it's still a fun gameplay type of experience playing tennis. You know what I mean? Behind the controller.
I think it all depends on how much of a arcade game it is, or if it's like a realistic game. I feel like if it swings too much to being a realistic game and being like difficult, then I think it's gonna lose
like a learning
people. Yeah, if it's like a big learning curve, I feel like people are not gonna sit there and try to learn that. But if it's more arcade, kind of like not necessarily the same, because I get that it's like that's super arcade, but like the Mario series, then we'll see. And like you said, making your own character, doing the whole. Like the My Career mode, because they're gonna have some type of My Career mode. That like you said, I want to try that out too.
And not for nothing, before we move on to the last topic, what we need to do, I don't even want to say because now we're gonna lose out on money. But I'm not a developer; I can't make nothing, and it's probably already in the works because I feel like maybe I saw something for it. Where's the pickleball game? We need a pickleball game because pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the U.S. right now. You want to go? Older generation playing games, maybe you can somehow convince them to also play pickleball at home with a controller. I don't know. On Apple TV, get it. Get this. This was something that have to be through a streaming service. You could probably get it through a lot of people's hands. Make a pickleball 2026. I don't know who's gonna go ahead and grab that title, but go ahead.
Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, pickleball.
Yeah.
But last but not least, Kevin, why don't you tell the people about something that's a little depressing?
It is a little depressing. However, I guess the silver lining is that what we're about to talk about, you're not going to see anyways. It's not something that's like in the future. It's not something that's going to happen. We're going to talk about it now, but it's something that's just doesn't have a release date, or it's 2026. This is canceled, folks. And sorry to say, it sucks because it actually looked kind of interesting, but apparently there was a multiplayer Spiderman game that was supposed to come out and got canceled. And somehow people on the internet were able to...
No. Wait.
Go ahead.
On the interweb. Get it?
Oh,
talking Spiderman. All right, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. People on the interweb were able to get their hands on a leaked trailer for Spider-Man. I think it's actually called Spider-Man the Great Web, if I'm not mistaken.
It has web in the name. It was.
So, funny enough. So anyways, that looks good. A couple things out of this trailer, and we'll put it, and we'll talk over it. A couple things. Number one, the trailer looks good. In my opinion, this trailer looks good. It has like the comic book kind of storytelling in the trailer. And also it shows a little bit of like playing multiplayer with other Spider-Mans. You see Peter, the multiverse, you see Peter, you see Miles, you see Gwen. And then at the end, there's at least two other ones. I don't know how they are. But
where was the pig? That's what I want to know.
And then the other thing is they had the voice actor do this trailer. And I was thinking, they had this voice actor, like I'm pretty sure it's a professional voice actor who did Peter Parker, if I'm not mistaken.
No, yeah, it's him. Whatever his name is, I don't know exactly, but
I don't know. I can't remember his name.
It's him. It's the guy. It's the one.
So that means that they were far along enough to get this guy to do dialogue for this game. So my first question and my only question is, why did it get canceled?
Yeah, interesting. If you guys know, please let us know.
Yeah,
because it is. Yeah, it's very interesting, and the gameplay looked like. I mean, yeah, it was just bits and pieces, but it looked like gameplay trailer-ish stuff. It looked like the behind the lens, like you're playing type of swinging, and you could see your other friends swinging too, and the combat that they have in there for a second. So it looked pretty. I mean, granted, they also already have the Spider-Man universe and assets to work off of.
Right.
It's just bringing the multiplayer aspect to it, but it's just interesting though. You're right. Like, how much more dialogue did they make him do? We don't know.
Exactly. And did they have all the cast and crew start doing dialogue and then they canceled it? Like, how far along was this? And then all of a sudden they canceled it. Clearly they had enough for some gameplay footage to put in the trailer. So, I mean, they had something. It wasn't just like, it's not just this dude talking over nothing. They had something there, and it's just weird that it's canceled. The other thing is, I actually think the initial response that I saw for me was, oh wow, this is really cool. And then I thought about it. Multiplayer games from single player games tend to not actually do that well if you actually think about it. Like Assassin's Creed it was this single player game, but when they brought the multiplayer into it, it was just all right. The same thing with like the Batman series, like Arkham Knights. Who plays that game anymore? So I don't know. It's cool in the concept, but maybe it's one of those things that it wasn't panning out. That's the only thing that me being devil's advocate can think of, that like maybe they just do to act.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Man, yeah. I mean, they clearly know more than we do, right? They were the ones doing it, but it's true. Just shocking. If only Skull and Bones would have thought to cancel their game.
For real.
I don't know why I threw that dig in there. It just had to happen. I'm sorry, Ubisoft. Because you said Assassin's Creed and it made me think of Black Flag and how great it was and just how they butchered. I just don't understand how they butchered Skull and Bones to this day. But it's actually mind-boggling. Can someone just mod Black Flag into a multiplayer game? Well, wouldn't be shocked if the gamer community could do it, or if it.
Yeah, I would be shocked.
But yeah, that's a lot of info for today. As much as we didn't think we were going to talk about too much, we got down to it. We gave you some topics to talk about. You guys let us know what you think of any of those 5 topics today. Let us know down in the comment section. And again, like the video. If you watched this long, I would assume you liked it, right? And share the video. And don't forget to hit that sub button, man, because we need to get these sub numbers up. Because it'd be nice, feel good about ourselves if you hit that sub button. Kevin, anything to add, baby?
Go play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, best RPG game of 2024. And let us know how you feel about it. That's it.
You know why? Because Kevin can still not play it because he does not have a PlayStation 5. And he's definitely upset about that.
I am pretty upset about it. But I have hope that they're going to come out end of the year.
In like 2.5 weeks. Hopefully they just do it in, 3 months, right? But that's pretty hopeful. Wishing.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hank and Kevin are out. GAMERViCE, giving you all the vice you need. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.